This week in video games, there continued to be a series of what I like to call f***ing nothing. The really only notable things to happen was an indie game called Celeste that is genuinely good. You're a little girl and you climb a perilous mountain of death, aka what my average Sunday morning feels like. Also, there's Dandara, a game made entirely by 4 guys in Brazil, featuring a protagonist inspired by a woman who was an Afro-Brazilian warrior in 1694. The game has a really cool art style and a unique way of getting around by exclusively leaping from surface to surface. Speaking of huge leaps, developer Bungie continues their mental acrobatics and is going to lock up their forums unless people have bought Destiny 2 and have put a certain amount of time into it. I could go on about how stupid this is, but I'll leave you with the knowledge that they have been doing really dumb things for a while, and if you want to look into the multiple Destiny 2 debacles, it's literally plastered everywhere on the internet, and this perpetual never-ending circle jerk has been going on for about a year. And with that, I have nothing else. Everyone go home, pack up your popcorn and 3D glasses. Is what I would say if I didn't have a plan B. Welcome to Byte Me, the show where I have to back up my promises about talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Somebody end my life! When I say this game is huge, I mean it, and I'm actually going to divide it up. Otherwise, you'd be here for maybe an hour, and that's the super condensed version. In this segment, I'll talk about the art. As I'm sure you've noticed, this game is heavily anime inspired. They don't call them Japanese role-playing games for nothing after all. And unfortunately, that includes the good and the bad. The good? The character designs are all very distinct and striking. Popping colors, bold clothes, different races, and lots of whimsy! The bad news... well... there's a lot of bad news. It's so hard to justify it, because while yes, there are sometimes people born with different proportions based on the clothing, yeah, they knew what they were doing. Japan... I love you, but sometimes just keep it tucked into your pants, man. Now that the 2 giant elephants in the room have been addressed, and I know for some of you it's hard, just try to ignore it as I go on to examine the other features that aren't as prominent. There's all sorts of different clothing. The main character has got this diving suit. Catwoman is wearing a onesie hood scarf thing, military attire, a beautiful blue flowing dress, a killer coat, and overalls for the creature that looks as if a potato and deli turkey were fused together with a mohawk and became sentient. My point is that there was a lot of thought put into the character's looks, but most importantly, the clothing of the characters speaks volumes to who they are. This character wears a diving suit, but most of it is open. He's a hardworking individual who likes company. This character wears a military uniform. They're strict and put their country's needs before anything else. This character has clothing covering her whole body. She keeps to herself and hides a few secrets. You get the picture by now. There's also these other characters in the game designed by various other artists. This bird was designed by the guy who did character designs in some of the previous Xeno games. This fox was made by this person who worked on the Byte and Kaitos games. She was made by the person who did character designs for things like Code Geass. This guy is one of my favorites and was designed by some dude who goes by Longman A4, who worked on a whole bunch of shows with robots. Then there's these other 2 characters who are at the top of my list for designs, made by a person named Hakus, who does stellar works of art. You've also got character designing veterans from games like Tales of Vespera, making the Ice Guy and Wing Gladiator. A person from the Fire Emblem games made this character, and even some people who worked on different Final Fantasy games, even to the point where one of their wives made this merman. You've also got a little girl with a Coca-Cola bear and this...
Dahlia. Allow me to make your life as enchanting as possible. We'll be great together, I do declare.
No! 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 1,000 times no! What the? No!
Next, I want to talk about the environments. First thing first, the world in this game has no land. It does, but I'll save that for the story later. Just a giant sea of clouds that is thick enough that it acts like water. The Cloud Sea is inhabited by colossal creatures known as Titans, and the various races of the game make their homes around these Titans, sometimes on their back, sometimes making structures that are suspended by the Titan, and sometimes inside the Titans. You have the verdant jungles and grasslands of Gormott, the amazing bioluminescent world inside Uriah, the dry military base of Mor Ardain, the freezing kingdom of Tantel, the twisting paths of the floating islands of Letheria, the constructed airship that is the Argentum Trade Guild, Temperentia, a desolate land of harsh, poisonous environments where only the strongest monsters can survive, a couple other locations that I don't want to spoil, and the single most boring place ever, the Indoline Praetorium. But it's fine, after you get to a certain part of the game, it locks you off from there because story reasons. Don't miss it. There's nothing to do there. But they all look completely surreal and oh, sorry, gotta wait for the graphics to load in. Okay, now they look completely surreal and amazing. And now I can get to the part I'm so excited for. The music. If so far nothing in this game has really gotten your brain to at least say, huh, that's kind of cool, then this music may at least pique your interest. And if not, I may have to become the next Joseph Stalin. The soundtrack of this game covers so much ground and captures feelings. In the fields of Gormott, you have this triumphant and perky tune that just encourages you to look around and walk to your heart's content. Feels free. Down in the depths of Uri, it's this tune of whimsy and mystery. Everything is a short, bright spark of notes, and the chimes and choir convey that sense of water rippling, and the pitter-patter of droplets on the vegetation. Tantel is amazing. It starts off with this ominous and haunting choir, with this violin coming in to give it this extra cold and harsh edge. You're not sure if you're down for walking your wetsuit through these frigid lands. Then the cellos and percussion kick in, and the vocals come back as well, and it all ties together. It's not scary. It's epic and open, ready to be braved by those willing to show their steel against the odds. Also, the night theme is really cool, and it has this smooth acoustic guitar and keyboard with some effects put on it. Now, More Ardain is something different. Just about every video game has a desert level. Now, I hate the desert. I can never get away from them. First of all, I live in one. Secondly, every time I get a chance to go on vacation, my parents always drag me to Death Valley. Cause when you want to relax, the first thing you think of is a place in the middle of bumfuck nowhere with nothing to keep you company but 7 bajillion metric tons of rock, a few cactuses, and a giant ball of plasma in outer space that hates you so much it'll give you skin cancer. 9 times out of 10, desert levels in video games will have good music, but they almost always suck. Movement is slow, there's quicksand for some reason, and you can't see nothing in a sandstorm. So when I was in More Ardain, I wasn't expecting much. But then I turned up the volume and I said, hold on a second. This has gone from suck to negative suck. We have breached the sand suck threshold and have gotten into something that is actually good. But it kept going, and it was more than good. I didn't know you could combine this many awesome things since I put pieces of cheesecake and donut on 4 different flavors of frozen yogurt. This song is so awesome that I can visualize in my head the symphony competing with each other. This song probably took 1,000 takes because the people playing it got so pumped up it resulted in a fist fight. This song is pure, unadulterated adventure. I could play this doing the most mundane shit and I'd feel like I was the entire cast of The Expendables and the wet dreams of Michael Bay rolled into one singular badass. But then night comes, and the band goes back to their homes, with only a couple guys staying behind. Xander gets his flute and starts playing a little bit, and Claire gets on her piano and joins in. John kinda likes what they're setting down, so he gives him a little bit of a smooth jazz beat, brushing the snare drums and tapping the cymbals when the rhythm feels just right. Lee comes in finally on his bass, and then everything really comes together into this sweet, quiet groove. I mean, wow. I would take this track out to dinner and order the finest sirloin on the menu. And we're talking, we're laughing, having a great evening and enjoying the music. And then the waiter comes in with the wine and I say, no thanks, I don't drink. Then everyone laughs me out of the restaurant and I sit in my shower with only warm water to comfort me and I spend the rest of my night there. But the night is only temporary. The sun has gotta come up. And when it does, the band is back together, baby. And you know what that means to me! Our team coming soon, I swear.